So I'm going to talk about what appears salient in having completed the first module of this course. I found the Johari window to be extremely interesting in describing experiences I've had in psychotherapy in different language. For instance, what transpired through the psychotherapeutic process was that I had an unconscious drive to make a lot of money, because otherwise there would be disaster. And not only that, that this unconscious drive came from before I was born, generations before I was born, because both sides of my family suffered financial hardship. And that seems to have been passed down through the generations and ultimately in turn into my psyche, into my being, without me even knowing about it. But it came to fruition in that therapeutic process. So it went from the unknown arena within the Johari window, because neither me nor my therapist knew about it, into the open arena where we both knew about it. So the Johari window is a useful framework for self-reflecting, for being more aware of yourself, but I think also for thinking more laterally. And thinking laterally about any experience stimulates creativity and can potentially provide insight. Staying within the realm of self-awareness, but veering slightly to the right. I'm going to talk about something else I found interesting, and that was the solar disposition. To sit squarely, to have open posture, to lean slightly forward, to maintain appropriate eye contact, and to relax. Not to cross your arms or your legs. And I've made a conscious effort to not just incorporate this in class, but to do this elsewhere in my everyday life. And I've actually been surprised how impactful it is in creating a greater sense of openness when I'm around people. People perceive me as a bit more warm. I've even noticed when I'm sitting at the train station, the seat that used to not be occupied is now occupied. There's a sense of come towards me, I'm not going to harm you. And this notion of taking it out of the classroom and into everyday life has been emphasised by the tutor. And that's something I find really interesting, that it's not just about utilising these skills in a formal counselling environment, it's about enhancing our interpersonal relationships in everyday life. And another aspect from the course that seems to have done this quite effectively is incorporating more responding skills. I habitually, before I started this course, would ask questions when I'm talking to people. I would give my opinion often, maybe give advice if they felt like the person needed it. But actually I've been experimenting more with simply paraphrasing what the person has just said. And it's remarkable how that just keeps the person talking. And not only that, it simultaneously conveys a sense that you understand them. You've understood what they said, that you get them. In other words, it conveys empathy. And as we know, empathy is one of the core conditions, alongside unconditional positive regard and being genuine. I've not had any trouble so far in embodying these in the skills practice sessions. But in reflecting on this, I thought, what would trigger me? What would make it difficult to embody these core conditions? And it would be if I experienced someone who's expressing racist or overly discriminatory comments, especially if they express it in an aggressive manner. That would trigger me. And this brings into the picture confidentiality. Because I know in everyday life when I experience someone expressing racism, that it lingers in my headspace. And I feel like the only way to get it out, to resolve it, is to vent it out with people I'm close to. And that would transgress confidentiality. And I know that confidentiality is vital in the realm of counselling. So it's something I need to work on perhaps, because ultimately, confidentiality maintains transparency and trust.